no matter what the circumstances may be, no, God is always there for me. Yeah, through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. So I met this old man. He was so poor, didn't hold no bed, so we slept on the floor. He's always smiling, never heard him complain. He said I've proven God again and again. So no matter what the circumstances may be, God is always there for me. Yeah. Through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. No matter what the circumstances may be, yeah, God is always there for me. Yeah. Through the good times or through the bad, through the happy times or through the sad, God is always there for me. The landlord wears the rent, school fee due, partner drop bonds, and the youth them need you. Friends all ask me what I'm gonna do. I smile and tell them that God will see me through. So no matter what the circumstances may be, yeah, God is always there for me. Yeah, through the sunshine or through the rain, through the pleasure or through the pain, God is always there for me. So no matter what the
Welcome to Caribbean Business Review, where insight meets impact. We bring you economic and financial updates, sharp statistical breakdowns, and data-driven insights on the forces shaping the region. Smart analysis, bold ideas, real Caribbean intelligence. This is CBR. Welcome to episode 1 of season 4 of the Caribbean Business Review. I'm Joseph Cox. Now, as we launch season 4 with this episode, we wish to reaffirm our commitment to quality and thank you for your continued support across MKR Radio and all our digital platforms. Please be advised that a new edition of the Caribbean Financial Dispatch is now available. Readers can follow the dispatch at caribbeanfinancialdispatch.substack.com. Our special guest this week is Dr. Marlene Street Forrest, Managing Director of Street Forrest Business Consultancy and former Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, where we examine the structural challenges and opportunities facing the region's stock exchanges. For decades, Caribbean capital markets have depended on a handful of large, internationally recognized companies to anchor investor confidence and market liquidity. But as institutions such as Scotiabank and CIBC continue to restructure their regional presence, an important question is emerging. Can Caribbean capital markets remain competitive without their traditional anchor companies? And in today's CBR briefing, the new economics of food security, we examine how climate change and geopolitical disruption are reshaping the economics of Caribbean agriculture, food security, and household inflation. But before we proceed, there is one development that deserves attention. The Memorandum of Understanding signed between the United States and Iran has given the global aviation industry its first meaningful optimism in more than 3 months. Financial markets have already begun repricing the prospect of a peace dividend, but the physical energy market operates on a very different timetable. While benchmark oil prices have eased in anticipation of a diplomatic breakthrough, the Strait of Hormuz has yet to return fully to normal operations. Negotiations towards a final settlement remain ongoing, and global supply chains will require time to recover. That helps explain why the International Air Transport Association continues to project average jet fuel prices of approximately 152 US dollars per barrel this year, around 70% higher than in 2025, suggesting that airlines are likely to operate in a structurally more expensive environment for some time yet. Yet perhaps a more important message emerging from IATA has received far less attention. Despite global passenger traffic having recovered to pre-pandemic levels, global route connectivity has actually contracted by 0.3% as airlines quietly abandon thinner, less profitable regional services. Now, that observation should resonate across the Caribbean. Every major external shock, whether a pandemic, a hurricane, or a geopolitical conflict, appears to produce the same outcome: fewer routes, weaker connectivity, and greater economic fragmentation. Perhaps then, the Caribbean's aviation challenge is no longer simply the price of fuel, but whether its current aviation architecture remains fit for purpose. For small island economies, air transport is not merely a commercial enterprise, it is essential economic infrastructure. The objective of aviation policy, therefore, should not simply be to maximize the number of airlines serving the region, but to maximize reliable regional connectivity at the lowest sustainable economic cost. Now, with that in mind, let's turn to the key developments shaping the regional and global economy this hour in Market Watch and Global Pulse. Coming up in the Market Watch, Caribbean airline operators brace for fuel shock. IMF approves Barbados credit line, and Cayman public wage bill surges by 37%. Then in Global Pulse, U.S. inflation accelerates to 4.1%, EU advances the digital euro, and Canada's inflation hits 3.2%. All that and more this hour on Market Watch and Global Pulse. Coming up next is the CBR briefing. This is a CBR briefing. Food security is often discussed as though it begins on the farm. In reality, it begins much earlier. It begins with global shipping routes, fertilizer factories, energy markets, and increasingly, it begins with geopolitics. That is why the Caribbean should be paying close attention not only to the developing El Nino, but also to the events unfolding nearly 12,000 kilometers away in the Strait of Hormuz. At first glance, the two appear completely unrelated. One is a climate phenomenon developing in the Pacific, the other is a geopolitical conflict in the Middle East. Yet together, they may create one of the most challenging operating environments Caribbean agriculture has faced in decades. Normally, those shocks occur independently. A drought reduces agricultural production. A geopolitical crisis disrupts trade and raises production costs. Farmers adapt to one or the other. Today, however, those shocks are occurring simultaneously. That changes the economics of farming entirely. El Niño is expected to bring hotter temperatures, reduced rainfall, and prolonged dry conditions across much of the Caribbean. Those conditions increase irrigation requirements, reduce soil moisture, and place crops, livestock, and agricultural workers under significant stress. At the same time, conflict in the Middle East has disrupted one of the world's most important fertilizer corridors. Nearly one-third of internationally traded fertilizers normally pass through the Strait of Hormuz. As supplies tighten, fertilizer prices rise, increasing the cost of maintaining agricultural production just when farmers need those inputs the most. Unlike petroleum, there are no large strategic fertilizer reserves that can quickly stabilize global markets. The result is a double squeeze on Caribbean agriculture. Farmers are producing less while spending more. The consequences extend well beyond crop farming. Extreme heat affects livestock as well. Dairy cattle consume less feed, experience greater physiological stress, and produce less milk as temperatures rise. Under severe heat stress, some studies suggest milk production can decline by as much as 40%. Beef and poultry producers also face slower weight gain, lower reproductive performance, and higher mortality risks. Crop production faces equally serious pressures. Reduced rainfall and prolonged drought can significantly reduce yields for vegetables, grains, and fruit crops. Under severe drought conditions, production losses of up to 50% have been recorded for some crops. Then there's the human dimension. Agriculture remains one of the Caribbean's most labor-intensive industries, yet heat affects workers just as it affects crops and livestock. Research suggests labor productivity can decline by approximately 2 to 3% for every 2 degrees Celsius increase above 32 degrees Celsius. The same temperatures reducing agricultural output are also reducing the productivity of the people responsible for producing our food. Lower domestic production means greater dependence on imported food. Higher fertilizer and fuel prices increase production and transportation costs. Rising food prices reduce household purchasing power while increasing pressure on governments to expand school fooding programs, targeted assistance, and other forms of social protection. Perhaps the greatest challenge, however, is timing. The decisions being made today about fertilizer purchases, crop selection, and acreage will determine harvest months from now. By the time lower production begins appearing in wholesale markets and supermarket shelves, those decisions simply cannot be reversed. The Caribbean, therefore, cannot afford to wait. Governments should already be securing agricultural inputs, strengthening drought preparedness, expanding irrigation and water storage, improving agricultural extension services, and ensuring farmers have access to affordable financing before the full effects of El Niño emerge. At the regional level, greater cooperation on fertilizer procurement, logistics storage, and intra-regional food trade will become increasingly important as global supply chains remain under pressure. For decades, food security was measured by how much food countries could produce. Increasingly, it will be measured by something much broader: the resilience of the systems that produce, transport, and distribute that food. Hence, in an increasingly uncertain world, resilience has become agriculture's most valuable crop. And that's your CBR briefing. This is your market brief. We begin in Jamaica, where the country has lowered its overall residual money laundering risk from medium-high to medium. Meanwhile, the Independent Fiscal Commission warned that the public sector wages now absorb 54.4% of tax revenues as Parliament approved a 6.25% increase in the national minimum wage from July 1. In Cayman, public sector remuneration has risen 37% since 2020 to $712 million, more than half of government expenditure. Barbados secured a $257 million precautionary IMF credit line and extended deposit insurance to 200,000 credit union members. In the Bahamas, financial sector revenues rose 6% to $264 million, driven by an 80% increase in IBC receipts. Regionally, CAF committed $10 billion through 2031 for infrastructure, energy, logistics, and digital connectivity, while LAC exports expanded 15.7% in Q1. In tourism, Jamaica welcomed more than 1.6 million visitors through May. Nassau Cruise Port set a new single-day passenger record, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines continued to record solid visitor growth. Finally, Caribbean airline operators warned that projected jet fuel prices of $152 per barrel will pressure operating costs on airfares despite improving geopolitical conditions. Now that's your market brief. For more, follow our Caribbean Business Review on YouTube and Spotify.
In a world of constant change, insight is your greatest asset. At Joseph Cox & Associates, we empower innovation across the Caribbean. Whatever your challenge, we can help. We're proudly customer-centric, offering bespoke solutions tailored to every partner. From innovation and digital transformation to leadership and policy, our services are designed to deliver lasting impact. We partner with leaders across sectors, from finance and government to energy, tech, and infrastructure, helping them navigate complexity complexity with confidence. Our work is grounded in collaboration. We connect regional leaders through powerful networks, driving change through joint research. Discover more at josephcox.org. Joseph Cox and Associates. Insight, experience, impact.
Ahead on Caribbean Business Review, our conversation with Dr. Marlene Street Forrest, former Managing Director at the Jamaica Stock Exchange, where we discuss, will Caribbean capital markets survive without anchor companies?
There has to be a concerted effort now, and I don't know, is it through CARICOM, to look at some of these issues, name them, face them, and work towards changing them so that it can be a unified approach to capital formation, capital retention, and capital attractiveness.
Okay, welcome back to Caribbean Business Review. I'm Joseph Cox, and now we go into our strategy deep dive. And today our very special guest is Marlene Street Forrest, Dr. Marlene Street Forrest. Let me not rob you of your title. Marlene is now the Managing Director of Street Forrest Business Consultancy Limited. And most of us also know her as a former Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, who had labored very hard and long in that vineyard. So, indeed, welcome to the program, Marlene.
Thank you, Joseph. Thanks for having me.
Sure, no problem. Normally, we're looking at an issue whereby, for example, Scotiabank Jamaica has indicated its intention to delist, but Scotia is the largest listed company, as far as I'm aware, on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. They've already exited Colombia, Costa Rica, and Panama.
Right.
And of course, we know that they had exited the Eastern Caribbean for some time now. Similarly, CIBC Caribbean, they're exiting the Caribbean. They're in the process now of selling their interest to Butterfield. Now, the question is simply this, because from where we all sit, we know that our exchanges within this region, they have but a few of these relatively large listings on the exchanges. So they become anchor listings. And I suppose the question that I really would like to start with is that if institutions such as Scotiabank progressively reduce their regional footprint, etc., are we really witnessing just a corporate restructuring, or is there a more fundamental structural transformation of the Caribbean capital markets that's at play?
I think what we are seeing is a mix. Companies like Scotiabank, they're going to take strategic decisions. They're going to look on their overall business organization and determine what is best for them. So that is that corporate decision. However, in so doing, it changes the landscape of our capital markets. And one could say that it does have, in part, a tumultuous impact on the capital market, because people look on a Scotia or one of the others that the market cap is high and determine that, okay, this is a good place to be. You know, we see this, we see the liquidity in these companies, and so we are going to invest in that company and also others. So you gauge that and you say that it does have an impact on the market, the capital market, and it does also determine, they do this because of strategic reasons. I would love to just talk about the reset, though, for the capital market.
Sure.
Because the capital market, when one looks at it, mostly the policymakers, the market itself in terms of, say, for example, the stock exchange and the players in the market, we have to look to say that this is something that will happen. It is not something that will not happen because businesses take decisions for their best interest. So we have to look at how do we engender confidence in the market despite what you consider the anchor listings. And these are areas now that we must work on. If you notice, and I must mention the stock exchange, while we had those anchor listings, you recognize, and we recognized very early that there were delistings coming with these big, for example, First Caribbean, was listed.
Right.
And then you had those delistings, which shake the very heart of the capital markets. And so Jamaica, the region, must look towards especially growing domestic capital in a way that will allow for us to, where you have this pull from the region, we still are stronger. And that's where I'd love for us to concentrate and move forward.
No, I take your point quite well, but I'm just wondering, just off the top, whether or not, in the absence of what people would call internationally credible listings, whether or not that doesn't weaken the overall perception of the market.
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I don't think so, because the fundamentals are there. When you look at the perception of the market, you have to look on, is it regulatory sound? Do we have in place the same sort of regulations that allow, whether it is a large company like a Scotia, or a small company, to be effectively regulated? You will see that even from the standpoint of Jamaica and us moving towards a Twin Peaks model is another way of strengthening our regulations. So looking on, it is messaging. It is messaging and action that will determine whether persons feel that because a company such as a multinational is pulling away, that we are less than in terms of providing this sort of infrastructure and this sort of environment to attract capital.
No, and that's a fair point. But then I suppose the corollary to that conversation would be, is there an inflection point, so to speak, whereby, because the withdrawal of these large international listings, they do impact liquidity. There's no gainsaying that.
Yes.
But the converse of that would be that if it starts to affect liquidity, does that then reduce or minimize the interest in your market? That sort of it becomes almost self-fulfilling, because you're looking at reducing investor confidence and all that goes along with that.
Once you start to affect liquidity, it does impact on investors' behavior. It impacts on investors' behavior, whether locally or investors who want to invest in our market. Because even where you have big companies like a Scotia, etc., you find that those institutional investors overseas will say that the market is not liquid enough. So you speak about reset. It is important that we look at this and we say, how can we, despite that, encourage our companies here to list on market? Also, one of the things that we have been speaking about for some time is, despite the fact that the regional companies are still small, how do you provide an environment that you have a regional stock, not exchange, but a regional capital market, the further development of a regional capital market. I think that is now very key to how external persons will look at us, and also very key to our internal investors are going to be looking at our markets.
But then, Marlene, when you look at it through that prism, I suppose no begs the real question.
Yeah.
Do we have the political will and the institutional will, as it were, to really take that next step? Because from us at CARICOM, we're all talking about regional capital market, etc., etc. But is there a decided transformation in terms of the effective will to make this happen? Because when I look, honestly, I look at the ECSC is on a weekly basis. Sometimes you get one or two stocks traded. Barbados similarly.
Yes.
Trinidad, of course, is much better than that, and Jamaica. You have like Bermuda, that there is some trading, yes, Bahamas and so on. But by and large, the market to me is very thin, and I worry.
I'll tell you, some of the times circumstances forces us to delve deeply and see what is next. Because yes, and I've been a part of that long, trying to get the markets together. But it is when you see how global markets are operating now in terms of almost inward, I think it's forcing us, or it should force us. You said, do we have that political and otherwise will? It should force us to look at the other models that operate where there is a coming together of various capital exchanges within a region and seeing the advantage of that. And I want to quickly say that I am not saying one stock exchange. I'm saying the unification of our policies, our other infrastructure, so as to take out some of the barriers to cross border trading, and also to give, because this certainly will provide more liquidity to what we call now the market.
No, quite so. But then you see, when you look at how the markets actually function, because I mean, I totally agree with you. There needs to be congruence in terms of like the regulatory framework, etc. Trust me, you have to sell me on that story. But what I'm looking at, and when I look, for example, even at the CIBC transaction, you realize that if for that transaction to actually be finalized, they have to go through probably about six different jurisdictions across the region to get the sign off. Now, to me, that sort of underlying institutional bottleneck, that choke point, if you will, I don't know that it inures to the development of a regional frame. I really don't.
And that is, I'm agreeing with you, Joseph. Those are the things we have to change. We have to understand. And that is why some of the times, even just a simpler example than the one you have there, where you have a company listing on Barbados and Trinidad and Jamaica, and you'll find that the company eventually delists from one of the two because of that same issue where the hoops to get one thing done is a problem. So these are some of the there has to be a concerted effort now, and I don't know, is it through CARICOM, to look at some of these issues, name them, face them, and work towards changing them so that it can be a unified approach to capital formation, capital retention and capital attractiveness.
But the other side of it, and I've always wondered, I mean, and I notice it getting more and more prevalent now in the markets, whereby data is a real currency in terms of capital markets.
Yes.
But I notice of late there's a developing trend, week by week, quarter by quarter. People sending out the notices, or they're delayed in terms of reportage, etc., etc. So honestly, in terms of the market development, a lot of these decisions that are being made with a considerable time lag.
Delay.
And
Yeah.
that to me is a problem. So if for us to really move forward, attract new and more viable, and in fact, frankly speaking, other international listings, if you will, aside from the local and regional listings, even international listings, it seems to me that sort of data conundrum we have to treat with very frontally.
I'm glad you raised that point, Joseph, because it is a fact that not only is it that data is very important and need to be current, but stock exchanges and using, say, a stock exchange cannot alone survive on just listings. A critical part of their being is data, providing data. And so definitely that is something that we need to work on. It's not only the pushing out of data, but the quality of data, the way in which it is pushed out so that it can be analyzed. All of that is important at this point. And as we go through the age of AI, it shouldn't be so difficult for us to develop various algorithms and other things in order to ensure that information is pushed out on a timely basis. But you are right. Data and information is what pushes the capital market, and mainly it is what instills confidence. It is what decisions, you don't want late information for to make a decision, or information that some people have already had and it's a part of the market is just having, you know. So definitely this is one of the key areas to flag and for us to try to get it right.
But then when you have that sort of dynamic, isn't the converse also, well, not even the converse, but is it also part of the reality, that part of the reluctance for companies to, for example, list? And in fact, seek to raise market funds from the market, the general capital market, now whether through private placements, public offers, etc. Isn't part of that a decided reluctance to share the data, the requisite data?
Are you saying that the persons who want to list and get capital, sometimes they don't want to share the data, the information? Yes. That has always been a challenge. I have seen, though, through the years that it has become less of a challenge. But yes, it is always a challenge because sometimes, especially small and medium-sized companies, get nervous about what is going to be done with that data. Or does my competitor, will my competitor use that data? But I have seen where we have been able to demonstrate to companies listed that the circulation of their data has helped them in terms of the growth of their business. So, it is all in terms of what you provide and how you are able to analyze and share with these people that these businesses, that it does not hurt. It helps. And it is really now, and you have gone into mindset. You have gone into, the how people think, what has been said before, and you have to change that culture. And which is why, I believe many times you people look on and say, Why do you spend so much money on market education? It's very critical and it has to be continuous. So as to make people understand that this information, you can't be taking people money or asking people for money and you are not willing to share, the inside of the business, not the trade secrets, but other things that are pertinent to a well-governed business.
Absolutely. But then you see, one of the greatest innovations that happened under your watch when you're managing director of the stock exchange, probably inadvertently now starts to almost reinforce that challenge. And I'm referring specifically the junior market.
Right.
The junior market is probably one of the best innovations that we have had in that space for quite a while. All right.
Yeah.
And it has worked. It obviously has worked.
Yeah.
But part of the pull with that is lower reporting requirements in some respects. No, that has changed.
No, that's never been.
Okay.
It has.
My
I'm
misunderstanding.
glad you raised it.
Yes.
The junior market, and I'm outside of the stock exchange, but I can speak to it. The junior market has never had any low reporting requirement. Okay. As a matter of fact, and this one will shock you, the reporting requirement is higher.
No, well, I've been completely
unclear. I know. So for the junior market and the main market, the reporting on financials, the timeline is the same. The annual report is the same. Material information is the same. Whereas the main market does not require you to have for example, a remuneration committee where you talk about the compensation of, your top tier, etc. The junior market requires that. Another thing is where the main market does not require you to have corporate governance, the corporate governance committee. The junior market requires that. The junior market also requires that the company has a mentor that will have to be with them. Right through that process of that 15 years, unless they're able to justify why their board now becomes so robust, etc., that, a waiver will be given. So, no. And people say that all the while.
I stand corrected.
No. Higher requirements of the junior market. And the reason is, and that is about confidence in the market. No, the reason is people look at them and say, these are smaller companies. Can I trust putting my money there? And we said, look, those companies are getting that tax break, corporate break, etc. They have to show something for it.
Okay.
Right?
No, I hear you on that, and I mean, I'm glad you clarified that for me, because honestly, for all these years, that was my perception of it.
No.
I'm glad for the clarification. But then you say, but by you raising the issue about the tax, the preferential tax arrangement they have, we have seen, not calling any names, don't need to, but we have seen where the possibility of splintering companies to try to take advantage of that. So these are some cases established enterprises that honestly, well, they shouldn't. But that has been a controversy.
I've never seen that in my time. We have debunked that already because companies that have had a vested interest in remaining dominant have made that assertion, and we have had to disprove that, to say, look, this company did not splinter to come onto junior market. There were 7, and as a matter of fact, they consolidated in terms of that to come on market. And over the years, they have been tightening of regulation. As you know, with main market and junior market, it happens. And I'm glad to see that we have just launched now the micro market. It has just been
Yes.
launched, yes. So you're looking at ensuring a 360 coverage in terms of capital raise and capital formation.
No, and that is welcome. But then I suppose when you start to look at what is going on, and I suppose we can't divorce ourselves from what obtains in the global economy, the
Right.
geopolitical challenges, etc.
Yes.
I'm just wondering from where you sit, and you
Yes.
were there for many years now, and you have the vantage point of standing back and looking
Yes.
at the broader picture as
Yes.
well. And I'm just wondering, what is it from your vantage point? Because we have seen what works in Jamaica. The junior market works, and of course, you have your main market. And there are other innovations that have been brought to play. But
Yes.
how would you see, what is it you think we need I would say, in the medium term? Okay, you can't do everything overnight. But over the medium term, as to what we could do to develop, really push that regional space now.
Yes. Well, I believe it has to start with a serious conversation as to what it is that we want to see as a region. What are the things that are keeping us back in terms of the bottlenecks? And we really need a task force. And when I say a task force, a real task force, to look at these areas and to quickly intervene with very clear guidelines as to what it is that we want as in terms of an outcome. Now, we have to look at, as you say, liquidity. One of the things that is our challenge is liquidity. And it is less of a challenge. Liquidity is less of a challenge when you have more companies on a market. So on the medium term, you want to have more listings for the capital, for the in terms of the equities market. You want to have more listings. You also want to have more products, different types of products. So, for example, we have REIT, real estate investment.
Right.
We have not had a clear REIT regulation and in Jamaica, and I think that is something that in the medium term we want to look at.
Yeah.
People love land, people love that's real estate, and in order to get, I think, even the diaspora involvement, this is one of the things that we could crowd in and list. And, the other thing is we also want to see how, despite those big, larger companies that are delisting, we want to look at how do you retain those. But at the same time, we talk about the capital market and we talk about how you flip to get persons concentrating on listing or coming to get investors to buy in. And I think we need clear discussions on things like dividend policy. We need, in terms of taxation and dividend, privates against public company, to look at how we can incentivize or disincentivize persons. Yes, go ahead, please.
No, because where you're going with this, I love this. But you see, what strikes me is that there's also a golden opportunity, because for years now I've been arguing, and I'm not taking me on, but I'm not stopping. It's in terms of looking at either developing some sort of commodities exchange.
Oh, no, please. I know I stopped you, but you did not let me go on to that.
Oh, sorry.
Joseph, we have to. We have to. So now that you have said it and I have interjected, this is something that it's right there and critical for us to do. We have many exchanges, many countries have commodities exchange and they don't have any commodity.
Yes, we know that.
Yes, and it works. It doesn't require you to have commodity. But here we have a region that we can really have commodity. We have still the bauxite here. I'd love to see that as part of the commodity. We have gold. We have quite a number of things to start a commodities exchange. Why
Exactly.
not? What is keeping us from that?
This is the part that has always baffles me, because honestly, even if you want to claim that we don't have sufficient skill and you want to take that route, you could always seek to link with one of the, like Chicago Mercantile Exchange or something like that. So in other words, it is doable.
It is highly doable. It is highly doable. And if you think we don't have the skill, then import it.
Well, this is the thing.
And if we don't have the scale, you have exchanges, commodities exchanges that you have steel, metal on it, and they don't have one metal in the country. They don't have one steel in the country. They don't produce steel. And these are some of the things that we ought to look at and say, look, we have an opportunity here. And that's an opportunity of good integration, by the way, for CARICOM.
No, agreed. But that, and then it's almost as if I come full circle, because then it comes back again. Do we have the will? Because for a lot of the issues that come up, I suppose I come around the issue of sovereignty and how much are we willing to cede, and et cetera. But at the same time, and as I keep looking at the Scotia and even the CIBC situation, what you're seeing there, Marlene, my interpretation of it, you're looking at companies that are looking for scale, one. Yes. Two, they're looking at your demographics. Your population is, you have a small population, et cetera. And of course, they're looking at medium to longer term profitability in their interest.
Yeah, in their interest. But,
exactly.
As Scotia, I would say, for example, Jamaica is one of the best performing, countries. So, Scotia is not, and I must say this, though it hurts, Scotia is going private. They're not, I've not heard that they say that they are pulling out in terms of their business operation. However, what will happen is that the Jamaican public will not have a chance to benefit from the profits. But we have a chance to build their bank, but not benefit from the profits. Yeah. And I say that without excuse. And, I can't tip around it. It's not something that I think looks good, right? But as I said at the outset, companies do whatever they do and make their business decisions, for one reason or another. And that is why I like the idea of growing domestic capital or regional capital.
I absolutely agree with you. But then I suppose the last question I really have to raise the time to raise with you is, and I'll take you back to your comment about REITs, Real Estate Investment Trust.
Yes.
Now, it strikes me that, for example, in most of the countries, the single largest owner of land is a government, or the so-called crown lands.
Yes.
Now, for the life of me, Marlene, what I cannot understand is reluctance to put the lands, the crown lands, under a REIT structure. Say a manager thing, because in some cases, rental arrangements that they have are ridiculous and need professional management, etc. But there again is reluctance to do it, because and let me just say it does not preclude the government in whatever country from disposing of pieces of land as they see fit.
It doesn't, so because all in the formation is all in the formulation of it. And, it is something that has been put to governments. And so I'd love to see that. But, one of the things I know we're wrapping up, but I think, we are also going to have to be looking at South-South cooperation
Okay.
with the exchanges and capital formation as well. I know, for example, Africa, etc. The countries have been pushing with cooperation with us, and I think that is something that we are going to have to also look towards. Technology has gone so far to be able to link without distance, and it is something that I think can happen you asked about the medium term. I think that's something that can happen within the medium term to also get us in terms of the liquidity, etc., that we need.
No, absolutely. I mean, absolutely, and that's what fascinates me, because the opportunities abound, if you ask me. But there is just this reluctance. I just wish we would get out of our own way and embrace the thing. Because, frankly, Marlene, for all of us, for the entire region to survive, we need to scale the operations.
We need to scale.
I don't know there is any other way you can do this.
No, there isn't. There isn't. And we tend to analyze, and don't get me wrong, analysis is important to our decision making, but we tend to analyze to death, and analyze, but the quick action that needs to be taken, and understanding the risk and mitigating them is important, but we need to move. We need to, as you say, scale up now. It's time.
Yeah. Get out of the administrative inertia and move forward. All right. Thank you so much, Marlene. That's where we have to bring it to a close. So that's Marlene Street Forest, Dr. Marlene Street Forest, Managing Director of Street Forest Business Consultancy and former Managing Director of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Marlene, thank you so much for your time.
It was a pleasure.
Indeed, my friend.
You're welcome.
All right. This is your Market Watch. We begin in Barbados, where the IMF approved a precautionary $257 million standby arrangement as the country entered the program with 2.7% economic growth, low inflation, strong reserves, and a projected decline in public debt. Parliament also extended deposit insurance to approximately 200,000 credit union members, strengthening financial system protection. The Bahamas reported a 6% increase in financial sector revenues to $264 million, supported by an 80% surge in international business company receipts. Meanwhile, the Financial Stability Council concluded that the financial system remains sound while expanding surveillance of real estate, cybersecurity, climate risk, and non-bank financial institutions. Nassau Cruise Port also welcomed a record 33,254 passengers in a single day following its $350 million U.S. redevelopment. Regional trade continues to strengthen. Latin American Caribbean exports expanded 15.7% during Q1, while foreign direct investment increased modestly to $194 billion U.S. At the same time, OECS leaders proposed deeper commercial ties with Panama to strengthen food security, logistics, and regional supply chain resilience. In Jamaica, tourism recovery continued to gather momentum with more than 1 million stopover visitors and 664,000 cruise passengers through May, despite operating with only 70% of hotel capacity.
It's the Everybody Sale at New Budget Supplies. Do-it-yourself professionals and contractors. This is the sale for you. Lumber, steel, dress and form ply, water tanks, pumps, PVC pipes and fittings, toilets, bathtubs, vanities and basins, windows, paint, doors, floor and wall tiles, thin sets and grout. Up to 20% off selected items. 195 Hagleyburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
Tools, Hardware and Supplies is turning up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, Hardware and Supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hard Hills. Where do I go? Tell me where do I
break with Home and Things. Bring home the championship deals on tiles, bathroom fixtures and vanities, faucets, windows, doors, and so much more, priced for you to win. Big goals, bigger savings. Only at Home and Things, where everybody is a winner. Visit us at 1215 Providence Way, Iron Shore, Montego Bay, 17 Old Hope Road, or 68 and a half Constant Spring Road, and get your home ready for victory.
Yes, welcome to Rebel Radio. It's Monday, It's time for us to take a look at what is happening at the workplace. Yes. We at Rebel Radio, on Mondays, we take a look at what is happening at the workplace around the Caribbean, not just in Jamaica. No. And we are going over to Guyana this evening. And I have with me Mr. Norris Whittle, one of the leading trade unionists in Guyana. With me this evening. Good evening, Mr. Whittle.
Very good evening to you, my brother Desmond. And how are you?
Well, I am supposed to be okay, sir.
Thank you so much for having me once again on your program.
Yes, it's a pleasure. What is happening in Guyana at the workplace? What is happening today?
Well, I wish if I were in a position to tell you things that will make you feel kind of elated, not only you, but my brothers and sisters, not only in the trade union movement, but generally,
yes,
good things about Guyana. As a matter of fact, on the 34 days ago, Guyana, and I have to be very careful now in terms of how I use my words.
Yes.
I was tempted to tell you celebrate, but I prefer to use the word observed. It's 60th year of independence.
That's very good.
And even, yes, that is on the 26th of May, yes, last month. And I say observed because there is nothing to celebrate, right? And even when I say 60 years of independence, even the notion of independence,
yes,
I think becomes now a questionable phenomenon. Because what I've observed, and the labor movement to which I am really attached to, is that many countries within the Caribbean are fast losing their political independence. Not to say about their economic independence. What we have been witnessing, particularly within recent times, is that our foreign policy is being dictated to by the Secretary of State, Secretary of War of the United States of America, Marco Rubio.
Yes.
And I need not remind you of the decision taken by Guyana and I think also Jamaica to terminate the relationship with those two member states and the Cuban medical practitioners.
Yes, sir.
Now, I am strongly of the view that those decisions were instigated by State Department.
You mean?
Having said so,
yes,
the Americans.
Yes.
Having said so, a few days ago, on Saturday, your Prime Minister, the Honorable Holness, was in Guyana as the guest speaker at the opening of one of our Guyana exhibition, right? And obviously, he spoke very glowingly, as expected, of Guyana. As a matter of fact, as we speak, right, arrangements are in train for Guyana to build. That announcement was made by the president of Guyana, right? That he has offered to build 300 housing units for Jamaica. You read about it?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yes. Jamaica, like the other CARICOM countries, are our brothers and sisters. And whatever assistance we can lend to our brothers and sisters is always welcome, right?
Yes, indeed.
Yes. But we have a concern, right? And the concern is this. I hope that by making these offers to the Caribbean leaders, prime ministers, etc., it is not intended to muzzle them in the face of the atrocity being committed by our government, right, against its citizens, right? Because what we have found is that the Caribbean leaders, with the exception to some extent of Prime Minister Mia Mortley, all the others are tight-lipped as it relates to acts of victimization, recrimination, vilification, repression, oppression, right? Carried out by our government against section of the population. You know, and as we speak, now the majority of persons who are employed within the public and the public sector, and there's a historical reason for that, right, are persons of African descent.
Yes.
Right. And what we have observed over the past 3 decades, that whenever the question of addressing matters of wages, salaries, and the fringes and conditions of work for persons employed within the public service and the public sector, there is always not only a slothfulness, but a total disrespect and disregard for the principles of collective bargaining. Even though Guyana is a member of the ILO.
Yes.
And Guyana ratified Convention 78, I think it is, and 87. The convention that deals with collective bargaining and the freedom of association and collective bargaining, among others, like 151, collective bargaining within the public service and so on. In addition to that, we are also a signatory to the CARICOM Charter of Civil Society. Right? The treaty and the revised treaty of Chaguaramos. Right? Now, all those, and we also have promulgated a law, the Trade Union Recognition and Certification Act.
Yes.
Right? Even our Constitution speaks to the question of freedom of association and so on, and certain rights. So, what we have been witnessing is the violation by the present regime of those conventions, those treaties, the charter, and laws as it relates to the whole question of collective bargaining. To date, as we're speaking, even though unions within the public service and public sector will have submitted the draft proposal for the year 2016 going forward, they are yet to be invited. We are now in the 6th month of the year, approaching the 7th month. And these unions are yet to be invited for the commencement of negotiations on those proposals that they have submitted. Could anything be more ridiculous than that? Huh?
No. And what the government has said? Government has said nothing.
They have said nothing. And this is not a question where the government lacks the ability to pay. Yeah? It is public knowledge that Guyana has the fastest growing economy in the world. And the growth rate in Guyana over the past 2 years has exceeded in totality over 80%. So the means to pay is there. But there seems to be a deliberate attempt not only to undermine and emasculate, because let me say this to you, right? Practically all the unions within the, as a matter of fact, there are 2 unions that are within the public service, right? That is the Guyana Public Service Union, the larger of the 2, and you have the Guyana Local Government Officers Union, right? Then you have the other unions, well, you have the other unions that are within the bureaucracy, like the Guyana Teachers Union, very large union also, right? And then you will have units in the public sector proper, like Guyana Power Right, Guyana Water Authority, National Insurance Scheme, and so on, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the leadership of those unions, right, are predominantly Afro-Guyanese.
Yes.
And the membership of those unions are predominantly Afro-Guyanese, right?
Yes.
So when the government fails to meet with these unions to discuss the workers' welfare and well-being, then in effect, what they are doing, right? In effect, what they are doing is that they are punishing black leadership within those unions, and by extension, black African workers who are members of those unions, right? And there has been a history of Guyana, and one would have thought that with this enormous revenue now flowing into the country as a result of our oil wealth, that the government would have sought to address the inequities within the society and take a different approach, because the argument over the years has been that one of the reasons for the racial ethnic polarization and the tendency for governments to administer the affairs of the state in a manner whereby, depending on whoever is in power, particularly the PPP, to develop crafts, policies, and programs that benefits one section of the society, that is, in the case of the PPP, the ethnic supporters. And since the ethnic supporters are rewarded, then it means the punishment of the other side, right?
Yes.
And the argument has been that that was so because of the scarcity of resources. Now there is no scarcity of resources anymore, so that cannot be used as an excuse. So therefore, what is the reason for the government continuing to discriminate against a particular ethnic group and favoring one? Favoring the one that is their main vote bank, right? Or support base, and discriminating negatively against the other section of society.
Yeah. So those workers who are being favored, they are represented by which union?
Yes, they are represented by unions, right?
Which union represent them?
Well, you have, like in the public service, you have the Ghana Public Service Union, right?
Yes.
And then you have the Ghana Local Government Officers Union. And then you can also include in that the Ghana Teachers Union.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Ghana Teachers Union at the moment is the largest union in Guyana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Large union. But the Ghana Teachers Union represents only teachers.
Yes.
Within the teachers who are employed by the state, right?
Right.
That falls under the Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
Right? And then you will have unions representing the public sector employees.
Yes.
Like those are public work employees who do not fall under the Public Service Commission or the Teaching Service Commission.
Yes.
Right? Not considered to be the two.
And you said the majority of those workers are Afro-Guyanese?
Predominantly Afro-Guyanese.
Mm-hmm.
Predominantly.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So
what we have observed is that whenever the PPP is in office, there is always a tendency. Now you have the unions that are associated with the PPP. They are either affiliated to, like GAU, or friendly, like NASI and so on. And you have another one, right? And historically, what we have observed is that the current government has always had a tendency of patronizing GAU and NASI in particular. That is the sugar workers, right? The union represented by the sugar workers. It is the only entity where there has been some semblance of collective bargaining, even though it may be stage managed. You understand? This was started created as though there is, genuine negotiation. But actually, what happened is that the leadership of the union and officials of the government will meet and they will work out an arrangement as to what should be paid, how they should proceed to pay, and so on. Right? and then they will allow the union to take protest action and so on, to create an impression that these unions are militant, and arising out of the militancy, they were able to acquire these increases. But the whole thing is stage managed, right? But the intention is one, it's to create the facade of militancy, and at the same time, allow the union, based on that same facade, to maintain some level of control over the membership, and to maintain also within the membership a culture of militancy and so on. So in the event that the government changes, they can use those same members, right, to undermine and to sabotage any new government in office. So that's how they operate.
But they are talking to those union leaders, and those unions are getting increases. That's what you are saying?
No. They're not even talking to those unions at the moment. Because if they were to do that at this stage, they may very well agitate the workers from the unions which they are not where they do not embrace, right? Because what they have done over the past 2 years is to link the increases of the sugar workers to increases of the public servants. So whatever increases are imposed on the public servants, the same increase is paid to the sugar workers. No other person than the vice president made that announcement 2 years ago. And true to their word, they have been delivering on that. But they have a dilemma. And the dilemma is this, is that the sugar industry at the moment is highly subsidized by the state. As a matter of fact, so far for this year, they have already given the industry subvention to the tune of $13 billion. But more than that, the industry is basically bankrupt.
Okay.
The revenue, okay. The wage bill of the sugar industry exceeds the revenue by 115%. Meaning that even if all the revenue, what it means is that all the revenue generated by sugar is insufficient to pay the wage bill.
Whoa.
Right? Yeah. But since the government gave a commitment that increases to the public servants will be aligned to increases to the sugar workers, then the difficulty they have is that whatever increases they impose on the public servants, they will have to pay a similar increase to the sugar workers.
Yes.
Which will drive the sugar industry further into indebtedness. You understand?
Yes.
So that is the problem they have. So what they have been trying to do recently is to suppress the increases of the public servants to accommodate the increases to the sugar workers without pushing the industry further into decline.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So it's a case where the public servants, if we can say, are now subsidizing the sugar workers. We have nothing against the sugar workers enjoying fair wages, decent wages, and so on. You understand?
Yes.
But what we say is that the increases to sugar workers should not come at the detriment to fair wages to the public servants and the public sector employees.
Understood.
So they have a problem.
Yes, hold it. I would like you to hold it there for me while we take a break.
Okay.
Just hold it there for me. We are talking to Mr. Norris Witter of Guyana. Guyana Senior Trade Union is in Guyana. Yes, and this is Rebel Radio. Let us take a break.
It's the Everybody Sale at New Budget Supplies. Do-it-yourself professionals and contractors. This is the sale for you. Lumber, steel, dress and form ply, water tanks, pumps, PVC pipes and fittings, toilets, bathtubs, vanities and basins, windows, paint, doors, floor and wall tiles, thin sets and grout. Up to 20% off selected items. 195 Hagleyburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
Tools, hardware, and supplies is turning up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring, and more. At Tools, hardware, and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hard Heels. It's game time! Score big with home and things. Bring home the championship deals on tiles, bathroom fixtures and vanities, faucets, windows, doors, and so much more. Priced for you to win. Big goals, bigger savings. Only at Home and Things, where everybody is a winner. Visit us at 1215 Providence Way, Ironshore, Montego Bay, 17 Old Hope Road, or 68 and a half Constant Spring Road, and get your home ready for victory.
Welcome back to Rebel Radio. And we are on workers' time looking at what is happening at the workplace. We have with me Mr. Norris Witter, Senior Guyanese Trade Unionist. Now, continue, Mr. Witter, as you were saying.
Yes, and while all of this is happening, this delinquency and naked disrespect for the unions in a meeting to engage in the collective bargaining process. Mm-hmm. The cost of living has risen astronomically over the past few months. As a matter of fact, because of the poor management of the economy, mm-hmm. we have had this rising cost of living, which has been further aggravated by the war in the Persian Gulf, that war between the USA, Israel, and Iran.
Yes.
And the virtual closure of the Strait of
Hormuz.
Hormuz, yes, right? Now, it is our view that the situation will get much worse because while we are an oil-producing nation, we do not have a refinery. So we sell our the product As a matter of fact, Guyana, most of its product, oil, sugar, rice, etc., right, are sold on the world market as primary product, and the bauxite and so on. So they come back, even gold, as the refined product, and we pay far more when these products return as final products to us. In addition to that, many of the persons who have won contracts in Guyana, they repatriate most of their contract fee. So it places a tremendous pressure on our foreign exchange. Now, one would have imagined that with Guyana being an oil-producing country for, let me see now, for about 6 years, that it would have had some impact on our exchange rate. Our exchange rate would have possibly appreciated, right? But we have seen the opposite. Rather than the exchange rate appreciating, it has further depreciated. Now, for instance, around 2020, our exchange rate was in the vicinity of $1 equivalent to 213 Guyana dollar. That's around 2020. Today, as we speak, $1 is equivalent to 231 dollars. You understand? So, and most of our, well, actually all our inputs, agricultural inputs, and quite a large percentage of our food are imported, right? So once your value of a dollar depreciates, it means the cost of your input, right, will increase consequentially, right? So the average citizen, as a matter of fact, if you any survey right now in Guyana will find persons across race and across politics complaining about the negative impact that the high cost of living is having on their livelihood. Everybody's complaining. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
And then more than that, and more than that, right? What has happened within recent times? It is that foreigners have taken over, right? The main area of business, like for instance, supermarkets. 10 years ago, most of the supermarkets were owned by Indians, right? And you had a few Afro-Guyanese, and a small percentage of indigenous Chinese, and then you will have the transnationals like Maasai and so on, right?
Yes, sir.
Now today, more than 90% of the supermarkets are owned by Chinese and employed by Chinese. The trucking service, now, let's say about 10 years ago, right? The trucking service was dominated by Indo-Guyanese with a fair percentage of Afro-Guyanese. The trucking service now is dominated by Chinese, right? The construction industry dominated with large contracts going to the Chinese, and the workforce are made up predominantly of Chinese and Venezuelans, right?
Yes.
So the Guyanese basically are shut out, not only from contracts, right, or business, but also from employment. The situation is very tenuous. You can virtually feel, to some extent, the tension within the society. And I'm fearful that we may very well wake up one morning and find that, a revolt within our society, spontaneous revolt within the society. Because the tension, I tell you, it's very high, right? People are basically suffering. Look, the last World Bank report that was made available to us suggested that about 58% of Guyanese were living below the poverty line, and the other was 38% who were in abject poverty. There are persons who are literally, right, going to bed hungry in Guyana. Going to bed hungry.
And Mr. Witter, have you seen what has the government done? Have you seen any sign that the government has done anything or is doing anything to reduce the poverty level?
Nothing whatsoever. Look, last year, prior to the, just to show you how callous this government is, last year, just prior to the elections on September 1, 2025, it was, I think, in July, no other person than the president on his election campaign promised the Guyanese people, right, cash grants, universal basic income, right, of $100,000, right, which is just about $450 US, right, to be paid before Christmas. Because he said, worrying to be re-elected, he's going to give them a very good Christmas, 100,000 Guyana dollars. $450 US, right? Do you know, as we speak at the moment, that many of the Guyanese have not received that $100,000?
Yes, why?
And from the... Yes, and
why?
Well, number one is that in around February, when a number of persons were protesting for the payment, the vice president came on the air and he said that when the president made that announcement, he would have done it jocularly. I mean, he wasn't serious. I mean, can anything become more ridiculous for that? Well, that statement, right, evoked the anger of persons across party and ethnic lines. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So the vice president had to retreat from that position. And then the president and the senior minister of finance, right, eventually came on the air and assured the Guyanese people that the money will be paid, but they're trying to ensure that they put in place a regime of measures to ensure that there is no rascality, there is no corruption in the payment of the money, right? So they then ask potential recipients that they should either, those who do not have bank accounts, they should open bank accounts, and those who have, forward the bank account number to the Ministry of Finance and so on.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people rejected, right? Because as a cash grant was paid only last year, right? And there was no need for anyone to furnish their bank account numbers. What they did, they registered the people, right? And then they caused the checks to be they prepared based on the registration, right? That was just a couple months before the election. So the argument from the recipients was that you already have in your possession data pertaining to the majority of us. You understand? Pay us based on it. The same way you paid us when we last registered, with the data you have, the data you have, pay us likewise. You understand? For those persons who will, for a new entrance, okay, you can now register them or request from them the information pertaining to the bank accounts and so on, right? Eventually, they relented with the proviso that even though persons may have been registered last year, they will have to re-register again, right? Well, a number of persons opted for the re-registration rather than providing the bank account number to the government. You see, people are very suspicious about this government, you know.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, because they are fearful that they are going to, if they want to provide the bank account number, it will be used for all kind of invidious reasons, right? So they prefer to be registered and wait a little longer for the payments, right? Well, since that announcement about the re-registration was made,
yes,
they have since announced, that is the senior minister of finance in the office of the president. He has since announced that they have so far paid about 75% of those persons who are eligible. So there's still a 25% that is left to be paid. I don't know when they're going to pay that, right? So what you're seeing is that, and the point is that from the time that announcement was made to the time of payment, right? The real value, the natural value of that $100,000, right, would have depreciated by more than 50%. You know? So I'm fearful that by the time some persons receive the $100,000, it may just value zero.
Yeah. 100,000 or 1,000?
100,000.
100,000, okay.
Very, very negligible. I mean, even the amount itself, you know, is a disgrace, right? It's an eye to the people. What can one do with $100,000? Eh?
Yes.
You know, $100,000 cannot buy $100,000 cannot, and we're not talking here now. We're talking about basic food stuff. Cannot provide basic food stuff for a family of four.
For how long?
Pardon me?
For how long? For how long? Family of four for how long?
A month. A month. Yeah.
100,000.
And that would not
Guyanese dollar.
That would not include. It would not include house rent. It would not include cooking gas. It would include electricity. It would not include water. Right?
Just food.
Now, a 20-pound cylinder of gas, right?
Yes.
Is $500 to $5,800.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? $500. Yeah, which is equivalent to about, let me see, about $3 US. No, 3. No? 10, about 15, about 20, about $25 US.
Okay.
For 20 pounds cylinder gas.
Yes. Cooking gas.
House rent. A 1-bedroom house, yes. Right? The rental will be in the area of $50,000 to $60,000 a month.
Whoa, that's expensive, man.
Very expensive, very expensive. With all the land that we have, right? And then we have timber, we have sand, all the like, right? And still, right?
But tell me something, Mr. Witter. I saw a report where the government indicated that it is as a plan to build houses for Guyanese. Don't you know about that?
Well, yes. We have heard about that over 20 years ago. What we know for a fact is that they have built some houses for the Venezuelans migrants, right? We know that for a fact. And what they did, because there was a pretext behind that. All the Venezuelan migrants that they built houses for, they have one-bedroom houses, right? Very close, no land space and so on. The houses would, of course, somewhere in the vicinity of between $2 to $3 million, right? But all those, the majority of those Venezuelans, they were forced to register as Guyanese and vote for the PVP at the last election, national regional elections. I don't know if you would have read where a number of Indian nationals were protesting about a month ago, where they were held against their will at a quarry, a quarry manufacturing location owned by an Indian national.
Yes.
Right? Where they alleged that the passports were seized and they were being paid salaries and other benefits way below the contracted sums, right? And provided with meals that were substandard, right? Well, this whole thing blew up after one of the guys lost some fingers on his hands, and then another person subsequently died, right? So they were able to contact the Amerindian chief in the area and got the messages out to the opposition leader. And then he was able to make arrangements to ferry them out of this island and brought them to Georgetown, and there was a big protest and so on, right? Then these guys revealed to us, the media and so on, that we never knew that there was such an operation going on there, you know. And we never knew that there were Indian nationals exclusively employed at this location, right? Then they tell us that they were instructed, directed during the campaign for the last campaign to install banners for the PPP at various locations and so on. And these things were done in the night. They were brought out in the night, right? Midnight. And taken around, they prepared the banners and they installed them and so on. And then they were instructed, right, that on election day was shown how to cast a ballot, right, and instructed to go and vote according to how they were instructed. And they were told if they don't go and vote, right, the owner is going to shoot them, kill them.
So
yes.
These Indians are from where?
India, right? These are from India. Yeah. But we had prior knowledge, right, of forces from not only India who were brought in for the purpose of the election, but we had forces from Bangladesh too. You had the ones of the Bangladesh as well. And some were housed in like all government houses, like on the estates or different other places, right? Secluded areas, right? And then what the PP also did is that when they were in office prior to 2015, all the schemes that they constructed, right? Like I'm living in one of the schemes in Diamond now, right? Now in each scheme, they built a number of houses, right? Big houses, right? And these houses were strategically placed. So what they will do whenever there are elections, right, they will charter planes and like what happened in Dominica with Skerritt, right? Charter planes and so on, or ferry, bring these people in, house them, give them a stipend, right? And then they will vote. And then a couple of days after the election, then they will fly them out back, right? So all that happened, right? Now, we were privy to a lot of these things, and we told the opposition that, look, hey, be aware, we have information that these are the kind of manipulations, these are the kind of skullduggery that these guys are going to be involved in. As a matter of fact, the PP did not win the election.
No.
Did not win the election. Yes, sir? That new party that came on board, the Win Party, won the election.
Yes.
But you see, the mistake that the opposition parties made, right, is that they did not go into the election with some kind of united program. Mm-hmm. You understand? If they had done, if nothing else, one thing, if they had ensured, right, that they would have collaborated in ensuring that all the polling places were manned by opposition agents, polling agents. Right? It would have made it very difficult for the PP to have rigged elections the way they did. But they didn't do that because throughout the campaign, right, the opposition parties were wrangling among themselves.
Okay.
Yes, sir?
Tell me something. Parliament has met recently?
Yes, sir. Parliament met after, I think it was, met last month. Mm-hmm. But they met after a member of parliament. She's a lone parliamentarian for her party. It's a new party, Forward Movement Guyana. She was a former MP under the PNC, the main opposition party toward then. Amanda Desir.
Yes.
What she did, she mobilized a petition exercise, which she submitted to the Speaker of the House, right? She mobilized the people and prepared a petition, which she submitted to the Speaker, and she also simultaneously caused a copy of that petition to be sent to all the resident commissioners, high commissioners, and diplomats, right? In Guyana, right? And shortly after, I think a day after she made that submission, you have the High Commissioner for Canada. You had the Canadian, you had the British, you had the European Union, and you had the U.S. ambassador. Yes. So you had the U.S. ambassador, you had the European Union ambassador, the High Commissioner for Britain, and you had the Canadian. They came out with a statement impressing on the government the need to have a functional parliament, emphasizing the fact that democracy cannot flourish without a functional parliament, to ensure that there is accountability, there is transparency, and so on, right? So immediately after that pronouncement by the ambassadors and the high commissioners, a statement was released by the Speaker of the House, right? trying to justify why there was this hiatus in convening Parliament, but at the same time assuring that Parliament will reconvene shortly. So less than a week after, there was the convening of Parliament.
Okay.
But something significantly has happened, because since the convening of Parliament, when the Parliament was convened, what they did is that they, on the paper, they ensured that there were only matters that were beneficial to the government. For instance, they seized the opportunity to cause to be passed a supplementary budgetary provision of $52 billion, right?
Yeah.
The majority of that, a large portion of that, to be used for a further subvention to the sugar industry, right?
Well, I tell you what.
No,
I tell you what, Mr. Victor. You know that we have really exhausted the time for today, but we have to let us continue this discussion next week, because I want to know some more. I am going to get a member of Parliament to be with us tomorrow to discuss this issue next week, right?
A member of Parliament from Guyana?
Member of Parliament from Guyana. And what you can do, and send me the names and numbers of some members of Parliament. I know your minister, the new minister. I know that minister have that number, but you can send me some other numbers and let us talk about it. Okay. Okay.
Oh, you know the minister number?
Yeah, this year number. I have this year number.
Okay. All right. Okay, I will. Good.
Okay.
You take it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, my brother. Go good. Bye-bye.
Yes. That was Mr. Norris Witter there. And we raised some points there that we will have to follow up. Yes, we'll have to follow up. Yes, that was Norris Witter, president of the Guyana Trade Union Congress. Well, this is Rebel Radio, and as I said, this is where we spend time looking at what is happening in the trade union movement. Let us go for a break.
It's the Everybody Sale at New Budget Supplies. Do-it-yourself professionals and contractors. This is the sale for you. Lumber, steel, dress and form ply, water tanks, pumps, PVC pipes and fittings, toilets, bathtubs, vanities and basins, windows, paint, doors, floor and wall tiles, thin sets and grout. Up to 20% off selected items. 195 Hagleyburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
Tools, hardware and supplies is turning up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring and more. At Tools, hardware and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
Lion King of Hardware. It's game time! Score big with home and teams. Bring home the championship deals on tiles, bathroom fixtures and vanities, faucets, windows, doors, and so much more, priced for you to win. Big goals, bigger savings. Only at Home and Things, where everybody is a winner. Visit Visit us at 1215 Providence Way, Ironshore, Montego Bay, 17 Old Hope Road, or 68 and a half Constant Spring Road, and get your home ready for victory!
Here is how to comment during the Frankly Speaking show. On your computer, look to the right of the video. That's your live chat hub. Click the Say Something box at the bottom, type your message, and hit enter. Boom, you're live. On the mobile app, it's just as easy. Tap the live chat button right under the video to open the window. Pro tip, if you're in full screen mode, tap the screen once and hit the chat icon to see messages without leaving the action. Can't type? Check two things. Make sure you're signed in, and see if subscribers only mode is on. You might need to sub and wait a few minutes. Keep it respectful, follow the mods' rules, and have fun.
Good day. Good day. Good day. The PEP results were out last week, and frankly speaking, children all over the country are being celebrated. Perhaps none more than 11-year-old Josanna Beadle of St. Elizabeth. Josanna got the highest grade of nearly 32,000 children who sat the examinations in Jamaica. That's for the first part of our podcast. Welcome to regular panelist Desmond, and welcome back to Winnie. Welcome to you, our viewers and listeners who make the program worthwhile. We encourage you to send your questions and comments as shown earlier, or just by adding them to the relevant section of the YouTube channel. The second part of today's podcast is about suggestions to, frankly speaking, restrict the use of social media platforms among children. This is episode 217 of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast, and we ask you to like and share the podcast and subscribe to the channel. Then we'll also have a word of congratulations for Maureen Mullins Nelson, the JTA President-elect designate. Meanwhile, frankly speaking, there is great suffering in Jamaica's one-time friend, Venezuela, where two powerful earthquakes with magnitudes over 7.2 devastated parts of the capital, Caracas. More than 1,500 people have been killed. Over 50,000 are still missing. And UNICEF says over 1 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance. But back to home, where there is still unfinished business. Dr. Andrew Wheatley is still a cabinet minister. And frankly speaking, we are yet to hear details of the plan to send deportees from other countries to Jamaica. But behind us all of that, now to the remarkable achievement of a young student, Jasonia Beadle of Park Mountain Primary in St. Elizabeth, who beat those thousands of bright sparks from all across Jamaica in language arts, mathematics, and mental ability, which made up the PEP exams for this year. Commendations to her father and mother. But we are joined now by Principal Carleen Williams Heath. Welcome, Mrs. Williams Heath. And thank you so much for joining us to tell us a little bit about this exceptional student. First of all, what has it been like this past week for you at Park Mountain?
It was a great week. Nothing that I have imagined, a week like that. It was a week of excitement, of celebration, of giving God thanks, of just really reflecting and just saying, wow, look what the Lord has done. It was just celebration, motivation, and just what we needed at a right time. Right time, we needed this, and it came right on time. So it was a jubilant week for us.
Explain to us what you mean by it all came at the right time.
In any, sometimes in the morning, Monday morning, I had devotion with them, and the theme for the week was in everything give thanks. So I told them whether it's good or it's bad, we must find a place to tell God thanks. So I put them in the mood to know that, whatever God really, really do, we must just give God thanks. So we started the morning in that way of just in a thanksgiving mode, not knowing that we were really going to be blessed with this news. At a time, this year has been probably one of the most trying years, because before my results, our theme for graduation is trials to triumph. We made it. So we had that theme long before we would have gotten our results. We, since Melissa, we have been out of it, have to be pulling up and regrouping and rescheduling. So we're not in our normal frame of operating. And, so things were just not all together. So it came at a time when persons were blowing from just putting it together, teachers using every strategy to prove, to please, and to really address the time. And so that came at a time when we really needed that blessing, that fresh air, that, after all of this, look what the Lord has done.
Tell us a little bit about this young lady at the school. I gather she's the last of, she has 3 or 4 siblings. But tell us a little bit about her.
Well, I can tell you about her at school. Can I tell you a quiet young girl who very humble in my own view. She is the one who is always thinking. She's brilliant. That much I can tell you, she is brilliant. Not one to give you a whole lot of talk, but she's our head girl, and she wanted through her interview I was a bit worried for her, wondering if she was going to deliver because I know she's quiet, pretty reserved. But she did it. She won her interview, and that coupled with her competency and her performance in the past landed her the head girl. It's a very quiet girl, but she does what she needs to do.
And for you, were you surprised?
Can I tell you, Mr. McKnight, that in September I said to her, Jasonia, I want you to do something great. I want you to land me in about top 10. But I wasn't even thinking national. Telling the truth, I was thinking within the region that our name will be called like regionally, Park Mountain, you did well. I said, we have been doing well in our own ways. We have been, coming out of our own and really performing well because we have a wonderful team of teachers who believe that what we say every day, excellence is our mandate. And so I called her and I tell her I need something great. And I said, you're going to do this. I even went to say, girl, I really need a government scholarship. That was my way of motivating her and pushing her and believing in her and didn't believe it will happen. Every now and then, when she passes the office or when we get together, I'll say to her, remember what I told you? And she will quietly say, yes, miss. Soft spoken, quiet. Yes, miss. No hype within her. Yes, miss. I happened to I had to engage with her on Saturdays because I do my Saturday classes for them. I always, as principal, want to have something to do with the examination group. So on Saturdays I'll touch the language, I'll, do the mental ability, a little maths with them. The teachers are very good, but that little, I still want to feel a part of it. So on Saturdays, I try to give them at least 2 hours. And so I get to see her. I get to see her 100% coming out. I get to see when she knows that she must not score any 90 for me. I'm not going to be happy. And she's always, and I always tell the other students, your task today is to beat Jasonia today. You're going to beat her today. And that push her because she don't want to be beaten. And on the day of exam, at the end of the exam, I called her to the office. I said, you did it? And she said, yes, miss. But of course, this did it I'm talking about is something regionally. It's something, it is nothing, this was not in my mind. It was just something that, my education officer, my regional director can make mention that, Park Mountain did well, That was really my initial aim. But can I tell you, she went to greater places. So I knew she's brilliant. And I was expecting something. But was I expecting this? Not at all.
Tell us a little bit. You mentioned the hurricane, Melissa. How did it affect the school? And tell us also about what size school is it? What size is it would be the grade 6 class and so on? What's the size of the school? You are in Santa Cruz.
Yes, say about 3 minutes out of Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And so Melissa would have affected us. We would have lost roof from about 3 of our buildings. So all the infant department went. We would have lost roof from grades 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and there was a part of grade 6. So we were totally battered. When I drove into the school 2 days later, it was the hurricane was Tuesday. I would have gone I couldn't have gone the day after because I would have lost my roof at home. And so when I went the day after, I said, God, when are we going to get back here? Because it was saying to me, this would never happen again for a very long time. And so we were beaten. We were really beaten. But I would have gone out into the community along with some of other staff members and board members. We went out to give some snack to the children, and to of course check on them. We have a caring school, it's a caring institution. And so we went out to do our checks. When I went to one particular community, one of my students said to me, Miss, when are we gonna come back that they can get me food? And it dawned on me, man, this is not just a learning center. This is not just a learning community. This is where my students will depend on their meals and everything. And so I went back and I would have spoken to my senior staff, and we decided that we're going to do something about fixing what we can until the ministry is ready for us.
So how soon after the hurricane did classes actually resume, and was there special arrangement for grade 6?
No, we set out right away that we're going to get them ready, and we did something to say that we bring our community members, we brought them together, and they did some minor repairs to allow. We were thinking of grades 4, 5, and 6 to come back, but we had our grade 6 on the mind, but not only grade 6, because we're mindful of the importance of all grades. So we started with grades 4, 5, and 6 in November, the last week in November. And then by that time, we said we put it on a rotation and also allowed 1 to 3 to also come in.
Sorry, did you say you were in rotation from that time?
Yes, yes, sir. And we ended on rotation. We're still on rotation. Nothing. We're still.
Meaning what? How many days for which classes?
Right. Grade 6, though, we tried our very best to allow grade 6ers to come in almost every day. But like grade 1 and 2, they would have missed a day. And the infant department only attended for 2 days. They came Wednesday and Thursday. So with no learning loss going on, but teachers, couple up their strategies, use the WhatsApp group. Teachers gave them worksheets, and when they came, we went full 100 with literacy and numeracy to ensure that they would have, been on par. So we put a lot into it. But yes,
so tell us something about the state of.
I didn't get your question.
Tell us about the status of repairs at that school now.
Well,
what is the status of the repairs?
We're in the recovery stage now, sir. We're in the recovery stage. The infant department is covered, and a contract is there. The contractors are there, and they're working on it. So the summer.
You have water?
Water is not. I wouldn't tell you yes.
Do you have water at school?
No, sir. We're still purchasing water at this time. But we got back our electricity.
I'm asking if you have water at school.
Desmond, we're hearing you, but you're having some delays on your side. But she's hearing. Can you answer that, Mrs. Heath?
Yes. I answered. I was saying that we don't have regular water since the hurricane. But we got back.
She's hearing me?
February.
Yes.
I'm hearing you, sir.
Are you hearing me, Frank?
Desmond, and she's answering, but you're not hearing us on this end. So you're not hearing. So it's disjointed a little bit there. But you are not hearing, Desmond. But she's been answering that. So Mrs. E, just to follow up on that, what do you expect September? You expect the school to be fully back in terms of the repairs with regard to Melissa?
Yes, sir. I'm hoping so, sir. I am expecting that because that's really what we want. Because we want to ensure that we're able to address the learning loss of our students. We really want to build on it and to get running, So we're really hoping that. But they promised us that, and we're hoping for that.
How have the teachers been feeling about the state of the school, the physical plant, and so on? How have they been feeling?
I don't know. I think I'm blessed to have a set of resilient teachers. We somehow we get them to operate within any situation that they are in. We operate from motivation, so they'll do their best in any situation. Yes, you want them because when we have to probably manually go for water and to use for the bathroom. You can see it on their faces sometimes. You see the frustrations, but they are not stopping. It doesn't alter the fact that they're going to give up their best within the classroom.
What's the size of the school? What's the size of the school?
We have 466 students on roll.
Okay, fairly good size.
We have grade 6 students. 60 of them sat the exam.
60?
60.
Okay, so it's 2 grades 6 then?
2 grade 6, sir, and they all did well.
They all did well. So tell us something. What does a child like this is a special case. What does she get a full? There's not a full scholarship so much, I suppose, because high school tuition and so on is free. What does she get in addition to the place at that school?
Well, from the government side, I don't know, sir. I'm not aware. I was not told yet. We were not informed as to what's her package, but we know from our school, from our level, she's our ambassador and will do anything. She has placed our school on the map globally. Yes. So we know at our school, she's our ambassador, and we already start to treat her like that. We plan to make sure we name a wall with her name. We plan to name her ambassador at the graduation. We have plans for her at school, and I'm sure the government of Jamaica will have some plan for her, but I'm not notified as yet as to exactly what it will be.
No.
May we have the comment, Franklin? A comment is here from Vanda Palmer saying, good interview. I love the leadership of the principal, except for the use of would have. It's annoying me. I know that pet peeve, that linguistic challenge, the would have. But we'll focus on the first part. Good interview. And I love the leadership of that principal. Congratulations, principal.
And principal has been there. You have been there for what is it? How long? Tell us a little bit about your stay at that school, which you are now leading.
I have been there since 1998, May 1998.
Nearly 30 years, 28 years.
Yeah. Yes. And it's someone from your parish too.
I know
Mr. Palmer very well.
Okay.
And you have been principal since when?
2014.
Okay. Because you mentioned earlier that you had said to the young lady, like, you had expected her to dominate for the region and so on. But are there still, because I don't know, I should know, but are there still parish prizes for the top person, apart from the private sector who gives out these things? There's no government scholarship in this sort of thing anymore, is there?
I am not aware of it.
Okay,
I'm not aware of it.
All right, so I noticed that your young scholar says she would like to be a nurse or a doctor. I in one of the interviews, I think it was to young Casey Williams, I want to become either a nurse or a doctor, and I expect to maintain my grades and exceed expectations and just do well. I think that is such a powerful thing for a little girl to say.
I think this little young girl should be encouraged to become a businesswoman.
Now, what she wants is what she wants to be, this man.
Yeah, I know. I know. That is what she has been taught, to believe that those are the professions, the golden professions. We have all been taught that way. Black people, we have been taught that we must go to school, get a good profession, and get a work.
Yes, and so she says, I want to become either a nurse or a doctor. And the part I'm focusing on even more, and I expect to maintain my grades and exceed expectations and just do well. And I'm saying, what a real load to carry to
Yes,
exceed
sir.
expectations and just do well.
Franklin, I would not like the principal to leave without commenting on the parents.
Yes, go
How
ahead.
are they feeling? What are they saying? What are the parents saying in all of this?
The parents excited, happy,
Yes.
grateful.
Yes.
Grateful, wonderful parents. Father drops her off at school every morning and picks her up in the afternoon. The mother is always present at the PTA meeting. So, supportive, wonderful. They are excited about this.
All the support that you would want in the school, principal, because many principals will tell you that is a big part of the letdown in schools. The parents not coming, not involved with children, don't know much about it, even though they set up WhatsApp groups and so on and communicate with the parents. There's very little feedback from the parents. So it's really good when you have a child like this.
Yes.
With parents' involvement. And you had 60 of them in the class. Do you have involvement from a lot of the parents, or is that exceptional?
We have very, very active PTA. We have an extremely active PTA. We meet once per month, and the parents are present. Say we'll have at a regular meeting over 150 parents at the meeting.
How many?
At 150 person, 100 to 150 parents. Good parents relationship exists.
That's powerful, principal. That is powerful.
Yes.
I speak to them every Sunday afternoon. I send out a note to my parents. We call them, they know exactly. We call it stakeholders announcement. So we send out our announcement every Sunday, so the parents are aware of exactly what will happen throughout this week. What's the motivation for this week? What's the expectations, and what's their task in the role that we have to play this week?
Tell us about resources at that school. What are the things that you are short of and you would like to be addressed?
Classroom space, sir. We're a growing school. Yes, so classroom space. I am in need of classrooms, especially for grade 5 at this time. I'm hoping that will become a reality for September.
You mean you need another class, physical, and another classroom?
Yes, sir. That I can host grade 5 properly. They are presently in retrofitted areas. So we're hoping that they will be able to.
But I'm a little concerned about that water situation which you mentioned. Desmond asked you about, and you said you're not back with the water situation. What was there good supply before Melissa?
Yes, sir. It's as a result of the hurricane, but they are working on it, and I'm hoping that it will be back soon. Since recently we have been getting, a bit. Yes.
As you know, Mrs. Heath, we all should say they must give that school everything that they want, because you have proven. Well, I suppose some people will say, well, you have done so much with so little that they can do everything with even less. But really, it's a pleasure hearing of your stewardship and the work of your. Remind us of the name of the teacher, because I know that you have mentioned her name all the time.
Diane Dennis. There's a question I would like to respond to, sir. The person asked within the chat, given the
person asking
students who sat the PET exam, how many were placed at the top 3 or even 5 schools? We have 9 Monroe.
You have 9 Monroe
College, 8 Hampton, 8 Stets, 8 Black River, maybe 7 Lacovia. So all of those top schools, our students are there in good numbers. They did
wonderful.
Well.
Wonderful. Do you get is the school normally judged by? It seems that this is commonplace. How many students go to traditional high schools?
I believe so, sir. Whether we like it or not, when you know a school is doing well, it's measured from the schools that they're placed.
Yeah, okay. Winnie, before she goes, you want to just take those comments, the other comments she mentioned one, but when you take the others, before we
Okay,
sign
there
off.
was a comment above that said, Owen Richards said, Desmond has a point there, and I hope they have career days in the schools. And then down to the last one, given her grounding at the school, exceeding expectations seems quite natural. She's surrounded by a group of engaged people led by the principal.
Yeah, thank you. So Desmond, you're getting support that young lady must be suggested to her that she must become a business person.
Then Franklin, all of us on this program.
Children have dreams, man. Children have dreams.
Yes,
Desmond,
but
all
we
you have
as
to do is
adults,
widen up the space enough for them to express their dreams.
we as adults on this program, don't we see the need for black people to follow the capital? We want to be owners of capital. That's what we want now. That's what blacks need.
We need a whole program for that, Desmond. We need a whole program for that.
All right, beautiful. Madam Principal,
yes, sir.
Madam Principal Carlene Williams Heath, we want to thank you and we want to congratulate you.
Yes.
Winnie was congratulating you before the program, but Winnie, you can congratulate her now again.
Well, heartiest congratulations again to you and your team. Teamwork makes it work. You're not there fighting, you're there leading, and people are working with you. I admire that. Blessings.
And I know that the minister went there during the week, Mrs. Heath, so I'm not going to say anything that protocol doesn't provide or that it seems as if we're fighting anything, but the Ministry of Education should see to it that everything is forwarded at the school. And to get a good water supply system. Water in the schools is just absolutely essential in all of these schools. And that your ambassador goes out there continuing to shine. We really admire you and we thank you, Mrs. Heath, for what you have done.
Let me get in this congratulations as well from M. Lauriston now. Congrats on that, Principal. It does appear that the school is doing exceptional well, and not just one or two of your students.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Winnie.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Mrs. Heath.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, Principal, keep up the good work.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So we are. Okay, we're moving on now. We thank her. Before we go to the next segment, let's extend congratulations to Dr. Maureen Mullings Nelson, who was elected president-elect in the recent JTA elections, the results of which were released this past week.
On this program,
go ahead, Desmond.
On this program, I recall telling her competitor that he's going to win. I recall telling that. But you know,
and as I was saying at the time, you often lose a lot of elections. You have a lot of election bets that you have lost.
But the
Nelson beat her colleague Darian Henry in the elections. This means she will be sworn in as president-elect at the JTA conference in August and will be declared president of the JTA.
I know it will be difficult. I know it will be difficult for Darren to win, because you have to remember that the JTA is a female-dominated organization, and the president who is standing by is a female. Remember that. I know that, and she was a person who was got some very bad press, but the JTA membership voted for her again.
You mean Sonia Harris? Sonia. Well,
yes.
Desmond, as I got a text message last time. Somebody mentioned that. I think it was on this program too. And they said the JTA is not a gender type of vote. And if you look at the leadership of the JTA, well, Winnie can tell us more about that at another time. But if you look at the leadership of the JTA over this time, and it's always been dominated, membership by women. A lot of men Desmond have won. So this is
Yeah, it has a lot of men, but
this is
you have
Mullins
to remember,
Nelson.
you
This
have
is
to
not
remember
Mullins
something.
Nelson will claim other things than gender. But
But you have to
let's
remember.
go to what she said. Sorry, Desmond, say that. I was speaking.
No, you have to just remember how in the society in which we have, women have been discriminated against when it comes on to leadership, you know. You remember that?
Yes, but I'm saying that she would say that it's not just because she's a woman why she has won, with a membership largely of women. All right, so here's what she said on the Frankly Speaking podcast on May 24, when we asked her to address likely voters. At the end of the program, near the end of the program, we said to her, talk to the membership. Joshua, we have that? 1 minute now and wrap up by just making a pitch to put the potential, the voters who are out there and would want to know, again, why they should consider you as the next president-elect.
Thank you for that. So my colleagues, 35 years I've served this system, and I've served this system at an excellent level. I am the advocate that you have been asking for. You have been asking for someone from the classroom, 35 years, and even though I lecture at the university college, I stand and prepare students in front of a classroom just like you. And so my track record of excellence, my consistency, my advocacy, a part of the negotiation team, I'm armed with the knowledge, I'm armed with the skill set, I'm research driven. All I need now is your vote to ensure that Maureen Mullins Nelson is the next president-elect designate of the association. Colleagues, I ask you to do your homework this evening. I ask you to go and do some research on Maureen Mullins Nelson and my track record and the ability that I have to pull a team together. Collegiality is where it's at for me. And how throughout the years I have transformed institutions. That is the level of advocacy that I have given, and that is the person that you would want to serve as your next president.
All right.
Of the Jamaican
Dr. Nelson? Oh, well. Thank you, Joshua, for bringing us that, and congratulations again to Dr. Mullins Nelson and to Darian Henry. Race well run. But we have a new JTA president-elect. All right. So we're going to move now to the fact that children, they're now talking about blocking children. Soundings are being made that could move or restrict, ban the use of social media among teens. We're going to go over to Winnie to take us through this part of the program. Winnie.
Okay, Joshua, please take it away.
A legal shield for children or an unenforceable rule. Globally, countries like Australia and the UK are banning social media for kids under 16. Now, Jamaica's Ministry of Health is launching national consultations on doing the exact same thing. The National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica, NPTAJ, is welcoming the move. But critics warn tech-savvy kids will just find dangerous workarounds. So how do we navigate this?
Joining us to dissect this issue, let's see who we have. We have Jeffrey Noble, and we should have the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica president to help us dissect this issue. Do we have Mr. Jacobs? If we don't, welcome, Jeffrey. Great to have you. And I want you to begin by sharing your perspective on this proposed ban as a parent, as a Jamaican Canadian parent? What say you?
All right. So, very pleasant good evening to everyone, to all the others that are on, those whom I can see, and those that I can't. Good evening to everyone. All right. Am I being heard?
Yes.
Awesome. First of all, let me say it's sad that it had to go to banning. And that, first of all, us as parents are not more active in ensuring that our children are not accessing these devices or disciplined enough to ensure that we have the oversight that they don't get exposed too quickly.
A legal shield for children or an unenforceable rule?
I am not sure what's going on there. Sorry about that. Please continue.
Go ahead,
Jeff.
Mr. Noble.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes, that's my first perspective, that parents have dropped the ball. All of us, and including yours truly, I can speak from personal experience that I think we have dropped the ball when it comes on to our children. I do believe that something has to be done. And interestingly, an educator who I know is present right here, we were having a discussion maybe 2 or 3 years ago about this conversation, not knowing what the future was going to hold, that I would be in a panelist. And I was saying, I remember when we were in school in Jamaica and how we used to listen to the radio, and our creative process and minds, you create this this image in your mind, whether it was a Brother Anansi story or whatever the case is, to be able to help our development and how we were able to think. And when I look at my children, my nieces, my nephews, and a lot of the children of this generation, I realize that social media has taken away their own natural ability to think, to develop properly. And I also realize that they're being exposed, no matter if you're a Rastafarian, Muslim, Christian, atheist, whatever the case is. Once children get exposed to social media, you now no longer have the control over what they see and the value system that you might want to teach your own children to function in the society that they exist. So
Come on, Mr. Noble. Mr. Noble, you are saying that the social media prevents children from having or keeping their parents' faith. Is that what you're saying? Because you mentioned these religions. Is it that social media just throw those through the door?
I said your value system, whatever it's based on, whether you're an atheist, whether you are a Rastafarian, with the presence of social media and our children having these unfettered access, you now no longer have the ability to discipline or form them in the in the way you think that they should show up in the world. Because I'm not here saying you should choose Christianity or Muslim or Rastafarian. I'm just simply saying your value system, because now it's the value system of somebody else. Because when you look at all the things that they're exposed to, I mean, nudity, they're exposed to so many different things from so early. That is where my point is.
I would like to associate myself with those views. Social media, first of all, social media is very good. But at the moment, one of the things that I personally find with social media, it is laced with inaccuracies. Now, the children are exposed to all sorts of things that they should not be exposed to at their ages, right? What you find now is that the youngest child has a phone, right? And there is no, as the gentleman pointed out, that we have, as parents, we have not really, we have lost it there. Let me put it that way. We have lost it there. The children are now in control of the phone, and they can access social media and access all sort of inaccuracies and impurities. I think that something should be done to allow the children to focus on the positive things about social media. Social media, I must point out, is an educational tool that can be used to really get children forward. But the young people nowadays spend most of their times on TikTok and doing all kinds of crazy things.
Well, Winnie.
Okay, let's look at the poll. Let's pay attention to the poll at this point. The question: would you be in favor of a law limiting the use of social media by youngsters in Jamaica? And the YouTube poll: yes, 62%; no, 25%; not sure, 12%. You go, Franklin, and then I'll say what I was about to say.
Well, Winnie, it's you I'm coming to before Mr. Noble, because I mean we're all making these generalizations and so forth. And I know that you're aware of studies done in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, and other places. But do we have any information? Do we have enough data to suggest that a ban is necessary, that to save our children, or to put them on the right path, that we need to ban social media use among them? Where's the data for that?
I will come to that. Let me take the comment that is on the screen as well, added to what Desmond said so we don't lose it, and irresponsibility to Desmond, not to mention the lack of accountability. This says Vando. Before I say anything else, Franklin, I want us to, when we talk about social media and creating and a ban, what exactly are we banning? What are we talking about when we talk about banning? And is it possible? And is it enforceable? So regardless of whether or not it is clear, enough studies have been done at home and abroad to show that children are being affected negatively. But the solution may cause more problem than we anticipate, because we don't understand exactly what it entails. So banning, first of all, when we talk about social media, TikTok, yes. What else? Facebook, yes. Instagram, yes. Pinterest, yes. And we have Snapchat. We have a number of social media platforms that are there. Now, is there any way that when you ban, it prevents children from using social media? That's one. Is it something that can work? Even if it is a solution, can it work? What about VPN, virtual private network? Can children bypass that? So it is a situation that it is hard to police. So we really need the parents to pay attention. Let's go to this comment. Let's go to this comment first. Lariston now says, banning social media is a retrograde step. Parents should play a more integral role in their children's life and point them in the right direction as to what is acceptable in the use of the socials. So what you are saying now, Franklin, go ahead with that.
Yes, I'm saying when we say ban it, what's the mechanism for preventing these children from accessing it on their phone or their devices? When we say ban, Mr.
Okay.
Noble, what would be done?
All right. I wouldn't have the date. I'm just going to go to countries that I've been to for argument's sake. There are certain countries I've been in Asia and China specifically, and there are certain apps that you cannot have access to it while you're there. All right. I will also think of the new legislation that has come now. Certain Jamaican news, when I'm here, when I'm abroad, I can't have access to it.
You mean here in Canada, so that people know exactly where
right.
you
can't have access to it. So I believe that if a banning is going to be in effect, it would have to be from that perspective. And again, just like Larry Stunner, if I got the name correctly, would have agreed with me to what I said in the beginning, that parents have dropped the ball. And listen, we yes, retrograde, but if you're thinking about I am, however old as I am, right, 5 decades in, I still remember the first 20 elements of the periodic table that I learned from high school and can recite it. None of my children can do that. The methodology that is being used now, number one, that give them this access. And I look at other forms of learning. Sometimes even I have been an active parent.
Mr. Noble, but we're dredging up the good old days, as if the good old days meant all of these fantastic things. And they do have some really great things. There's no doubt about that. But why we want to just remove the whole thing from the children, remove all of the social media access that they would have? And I just want to find out what is the mechanism for doing it.
But it's not possible.
Again, I would support it, but first of all, I say,
okay, that's the end of today's show. I want to thank all my listeners and viewers. Thanks to my technical operator, Kevin. And as usual, I want to appeal, and I am appealing to all road users to take it easy on our roads. Stay safe. Try and do that. Until Wednesday, this is Rebel Radio, and I am Desmond Richards.
Everybody sale at New Budget Supplies. Do-it-yourself professionals and contractors. This is the sale for you. Lumber, steel, dress and form ply, water tanks, pumps, PVC pipes and fittings, toilets, bathtubs, vanities and basins, windows, paint, doors, floor and wall tiles, thin sets and grout. Up to 20% off selected items. 195 Hagleyburg Road. Telephone 923-4560. New Budget Supplies. Always the best prices.
Tools, hardware, and supplies is turning up the heat this summer with their super saving summer sale. Prices are slashed on everything you need to fix up your home. Beautiful tiles, sleek doors, top quality windows, modern sanitary ware, exclusive flooring, and more. At Tools, hardware, and supplies, we have you covered for the summer.
So come visit us at 279 Spanish Town Road, 4 South Camp Road, 8 Red Hills Road,
or online at toolsja.com.
Tools!
The Lion King of Hardware. It's game time! Score big with Woman Things! Bring home the championship deals on tiles, bathroom fixtures and vanities, faucets, windows, doors, and so much more, priced for you to win! Big goals, bigger savings! Only at Home and Things, where everybody is a winner! Visit us at 1215 Providence Way, Iron Shore, Montego Bay, 17 Old Hope Road, or 68.5 Constant Spring Road, and get your home ready for victory!